This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV on YouTube. Today, as my special guest, I have a man that's commentated for WWE. He's been an announcer for them. He's worked for TNA, RDS, the biggest French TV channel in Canada for sports. None other than Marc Blondin, who has a promotion coming up in Quebec. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm
I'm
fine
fine
myself.
myself.
It's
It's
been
been
quite a
quite a
while.
while.
Yes, you've helped me on a few events over the years too. Back when I was promoting in Canada as well. So thanks a lot for your help over the years.
Oh, well,
Oh,
thanks for
thanks for
having me.
having me.
I have
I have
some
some
good
good
memories of
memories of
you were
you were
able to
able to
put
put
together
together
one
one
match that
match
a
that a
lot of
lot of
people would
people
have
would have
loved to
loved to
see.
see.
PCO
PCO
against
against
Sly,
Sly,
and I
and
was
I was
the
the
referee.
referee.
I would
I would
love to
Yes,
love
see
to
that
see that
tape.
tape.
yeah, that was back during a time where you guys were doing French commentary, and I guess PCO had left to go to Puerto Rico, and Sly took over.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And for a while there, wasn't TNA the most popular company in Quebec when you guys were doing commentary because WWE wasn't playing there or something for a period of time?
Oh,
Oh,
exactly. We
exactly. We
were
were
popular
popular
because
because
we were
we
the
were the
only
only
choice
choice
available.
available.
So, how did you end up getting into wrestling to begin with? Because you worked for RDS, but it seems like the first type of things that you did, you were interviewing Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man for the WWE's French shows. How did that all start off?
Uh,
First, I want to let you know that you forgot to mention that I was with WCW also in the big years, but
but
that's
that's
Oh,
another
did
story.
RDS? I don't think I got it in those years, so I didn't realize. Wow, were you?
Yeah,
yeah.
I was. I
I
did
did
two
two
runs
runs.
with WCW. One in 1991 after my WWF years with Richard Charland on site at RDS. We did maybe a year and a half, maybe up to 2 years, and then I came back with a guy called Michel Le Tourneur, where we did France, Belgium, and even Belgium in English. Believe it or not, and we were there for the big years 96, 97 to 2001 with Eric Bischoff and all those guys. So that's
That's
part of
part
my
of my
background.
background.
So were you doing pay-per-view for them as well, or just the French commentary for Quebec and Canada?
You're
You're
talking about
talking about
WCW.
WCW.
Yes,
I
yeah.
was
I was
doing the
doing the
pay-per-views
pay-per-views
also.
also.
Remember
Remember
my
my
we were
we were
three
three
commentators. There
commentators.
was
There was
Michelle and
Michelle and
I
I
and
and
the
the
model
model
Rick
Rick
Martel.
Martel.
Oh wow, back when he was working for WCW.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And
And
it's
it's
funny
funny
if I
if I
can
can
bring that
bring
up.
that up.
I
Yeah.
know I'm not answering your question at all, but the first time they said Rick, he was injured, and they said, why don't you do the commentaries that add a little spice to those two Quebecers, myself and Michelle and myself, should I say, to be polite. And the first thing Rick told me is, listen, I know you guys make a lot of jokes, and I'm not into that. But I would say 2 or 3 months later, he was the one making most of the jokes. So that
So
was
that was
really,
really,
really
really
cool.
cool.
Wow, I didn't know that. So that was during the time he had what, a 3-year WCW contract?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then is it true that they offered him another contract after that, but he personally turned it down because at that point he was doing too well in real estate?
I
I
know
know
Rick
Rick.
was a bit fed up of traveling, and but I cannot answer that question because I don't know the answer. But I know he was a bit fed up of the traveling, the injuries, and everything. So it's quite possible, yes.
What is he up to now? Because he's one of the people that are asked about all the time. Why does he not do wrestling appearances anymore? I heard he's doing one this year, But even Tito
Yeah.
Santana told me he wasn't quite sure what Rick Martel was doing these days.
Rick was a good friend of mine. Still, well, I don't see him, so I can't say he's still a good friend. But with Bertrand Hébert, I'm trying to have him on my podcast since 5 years. And he promised me. I saw him in Quebec City last year. They did how do you say that in English? An exposition um, on wrestling. It was
Oh, a fan fest type of thing.
no,
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 really. It
really.
was
It was
on for
on for
about a
about a
year.
year.
Uh, it was
It was
incredible,
incredible.
interactive. When you go into a museum, they call that.
Oh yeah, exposition. You're right.
Thank
The
you.
same type of same word actually.
Well,
Well,
thank you.
thank
I'm
you. I'm
sorry for
sorry for
that.
that.
But
But
and I
and
met
I
him
met him
there. He
there.
was
He was
there at
there
the
at the
opening, and he
opening, and he
promised me
promised
that
me
he
that
was
he
going
was
to
going to.
attend my podcast. So I hope it's going to be this year. And I've been trying to have him on my shows. As you said earlier, I run a promotion called Sim Mania, and I know you said one thing, Hannibal, that a lot of people know in the business. He did well with his money, a bit like Ray Ruggio did. They took care of their money. They invested well, and they don't need to, which is something when you get older. It's fun to be able to say no because you don't have to get the money. And I think that's Rick. And what I heard for the one, I think he's doing one in New Jersey. I'm not sure if it's New Jersey, but I heard he's going to get paid the same amount Sting or Goldberg would get, which is, I
I
don't
don't
know
know
how
how
much it
much
could
it could
be.
be.
What's your
What's your
guess?
guess?
Oh, that would be in the 20,000s, I would imagine.
See, I
See, I
said
said
10, but
10, but
after I
after I
said
said
10 a
10
few
a few
weeks ago,
weeks
I
ago, I
said,
said,
nah,
nah,
probably a
probably a
lot more
lot
than
more
that.
than
But
that.
do you
But do you
imagine
imagine
Yeah.
20
20
grand?
grand?
Easy.
Yeah, because Sting these days, I heard he's making 1 million a year just for his Legends deal, which he doesn't even really have to do anything for. But I guess they pay it so he doesn't go to WWE, and I guess his son is starting wrestling now too, as you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
Interesting.
so what brought you back into wrestling for Sign Mania? Because I know you and Sylvain Grenier had your own league, TOW Wrestling, for many years. I've kind of been out of the loop, and I didn't realize you started something new.
Well, during COVID, a lot of people were thinking a lot of things, and I decided to write a book on my life called La Grande Histoire de ma petite vie. The big story of my small life. I don't know if it's the right way to do the introduction. And
And
Yeah.
I was and I said, okay, why I should do a show to launch my book, and with all the people who helped me. Bertrand Hébert was my booker, the one who wrote my book, the one who wrote Pat Patterson's book, and a lot of the Andre the Giant with Pat Laprade and a lot of others. So I decided, and Sim, see, this is my podcast, SYMM, because my sentence that everyone on the French market, every wrestling fan knows is Soyez-y, mesdames, messieurs. So the SYMM is my closing catchphrase. So Sim, and I added Ania, so Sim Mania. And I'm doing number 12 in a month in a casino near Three Rivers between Montreal and Quebec. But when I was with Sly Grenier and JF Kelly was also one of our partners, it was not fun. I was the guy doing a lot of paperwork, and I didn't have the fun part. And it cost a lot of money. We lost a lot of money, and at the end, I was just fed up. In 2015, we did 4 shows, tape for RDS for 4 weeks for 1 hour show. And it didn't work out. The shows were quite good. They're available on my YouTube channel, Marc Blondin. By the way, if you try to find it, it's Mark with a C, of course, a French Canadian Mark. Uh, it's fun to say I'm a Mark. And
Yes, I will change that. Sorry about that.
no, no problem. And I took a break, and after COVID came into the picture, so I started doing Simmania 1 in 2022, and why not 2? And I'm up to number 12. I try to do 4 to 6 show a year. I bring special guests. I had Rhino, I had Santino, I had Sly, I had PCO, I had Eddie Edwards. The next show I'm having Steve Macklin. I had Cowboy James Storm. I had Tommy Dreamer. So and that, of course, I was with TNA because I lost my job in TNA 2 days ago. We were doing the pay-per-views, and they decided to cut all the French opportunities. So being with TNA, we did all the pay-per-views with a Quebec wrestler called Handsome JF, Jean Frédéric. And it was fun because we did, since 2021, we traveled quite a lot. We did the pay-per-views all around the States for TNA. So we met a lot of guys that helped me because they knew who I was. So they came to my show. So that's why it started. And I have a company called Mr. Fun, and which is also my nickname. And I just passed that to my 2 sons. It's an entertainment company, parties and things like that. So today I do my podcast. I'm quite busy as a animateur, a host, master of ceremony, whatever you call it in English, and with some mania. So at 67 years old, I lost a lot of weight. I train every day, and I love my life.
Yes, I remember for M Fun, you did the music for one of our Great North Wrestling shows once at Bike Fest in Hawkesbury. So yeah, you were like a DJ doing that too, right?
And I remember that bike fest because I was out of wrestling since a few years, and I was calling one of the matches you were producing, and I was calling the 2 girls, the Rock, all the show. I was so bad that day, incredible. Or I was like, what's wrong with me? I couldn't do it right. Ah, boy, I'm sorry for that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't notice that. I just remember the crowd was really wild that day because it was a lot of people drinking, and I think someone tried to interfere in one of the matches and stuff. So
That's you get a little nervous.
yes, because you never want insurance issues, as you know. As far as working in the '80s for WWE, would you do all of those interviews that would be on the French wrestling show? Would those all be taped when WWE came to Montreal, or did you travel around to the U.S. towns where the WWE went to do those tapings?
I was traveling every 3 weeks. We did 3 weeks of TV, and every wrestling fan on the English side, they know Mean Gene Okerlund, and I was doing the same thing as Mean Gene was doing. So even as we when we taped the Saturday night main event, what you saw of Mean Gene, well, I was doing the same thing on the French side. So yeah, I was traveling, and we had boxes. Those boxes were, I would say, maybe the size of a little bigger than a room. I would say maybe 20 by 20. Uh, uh, what's the word? The Hannibal insulate for the
Oh
sound.
yeah, soundproof insulation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And there was one for Mean Gene. There was one for the wrestlers who did on cam single promo, And there was the third box. There was Miguel Alonso, who was doing all the Spanish interviews, and myself. So we were there. In those years, we were running in Quebec, Quebec City, of course, Montreal Forum, Robert Guertin Hall. We were even doing some smaller town. So I was working tight with Pat Patterson. He gave me the rundown of the cards. And at the beginning, I had to ask, who will I have? And after maybe, I don't know, 6 months, a year, I went to I grabbed the guys. They knew me, was easy. I knew how many interviews I had to do, but I was doing all that. And sometimes, to answer the beginning of your question, Hannibal, when we were at the Montreal Forum, sometimes there was some card change. So that's when I did some interviews wearing a tuxedo instead of the blue jacket with the WWF here, because I was the ring announcer in Montreal. They said, okay, during that match, come, we'll do an interview because there's a change. This guy is injured or whatever. So I did some in Montreal. But I would say 90% of the interviews I did with all those main stars were done in studios, 2 days taping in two different cities every 3 weeks.
Now, did they fly you to France when you went? When, because I've seen recently, I think the Vault put out some interviews that you did with Andre the Giant in France. What was
Yeah.
that experience like?
That was really incredible. It was my first experience in France, and our boss here in Quebec, or for the French market, which was France, Africa, Quebec, was a guy called Guy Auré. Guy passed away, like a lot of others, and he said, "Mark, don't worry about your trip to Europe, because for me it was like today going on Mars or uh, on the moon. It was, for me, it was something incredible to go to Europe. I never went there, and I had no idea what to expect. So he said, I'll take care of everything. Just follow me. It's going to be great. And once we landed in Paris, I never saw him again, or almost not, from the whole trip. So I was quite nervous. And I was there for the ring announcer at Bercy, which is the major arena in Paris. And all the guys that I knew, so Jim Duggan and uh, the other guys that were there, I think Junkyard Dog, of course, Andre. Andre was on his own, of course, he was at home. So I was like their translator. So we were shopping or going around, and I remember the French, European French, did not understand my Quebec French. And I remember Axel said, "What's happening? They don't understand your French." It was so funny, but it was I got a great picture right in the back of me and Andre on the ring, because he was the guest referee at that show. It's a beautiful, beautiful picture. It's the back of my book, by the way, and it was fun. That was in 1987. Wow.
You must have been pretty young at that point to be the WWE ring announcer and backstage interview guy. What was that like? I guess you would have been in your 20s, and WWE, to me, that's still the best time for you to be right involved with it.
Well, you see, I started in 86, so I'll be in the business for 40 years next summer on June 15th. And I was born in 58, so I was 28 years old when I started. Uh, yeah, yeah, it's been a while.
Would you ever have imagined that they would go to Montreal so infrequently? Like, I know they're coming this month, but last year I think they only came to Montreal one time, because when you were working for them, they were coming almost every month, it seemed like, to Montreal. Plus, as you mentioned, I think Rimouski they came to once, Drummondville, all,
Shawinigan.
yeah, Trois Rivières, all these smaller towns too. And would you ever imagine, because Quebec's such a hotbed for wrestling, that they would do so few events in Quebec?
In those years, Hannibal, they came almost every 3 weeks at the Montreal Forum. And once they were there, often the next day they did Hall or whatever the towns that you mentioned. But today wrestling is planet. It's worldwide. It's different. Uh, you've been in the wrestling for many years also. It changed so much. So probably in those years, someone would have told me that. I would have said, nah, Montreal will always be a main city. And I guess it is. But now everything that we hear that town pays so much money to get an event or whatever. And like Royal Rumble, there'll be somewhere else or around the planet. So
Yeah.
I'm surprised today, but probably 30 years ago would have said, nah, it's not going to happen.
What I was surprised about, I actually found this out for the first time. I was just looking at the history. What they didn't even go to Ottawa at all last year, and they're not coming this year, from what I understand. But in 1989, they went to Hull in May and Ottawa in June. So they actually even went to the Ottawa market 2 months in a row, which is actually unheard of. But I guess business was just booming in those days.
Well, if you remember probably all the stories of the wrestlers who did two shows not every day, but I remember Macho Man doing a show like at 2 in the afternoon in Montreal, and he was in Toronto the same night for another fight, another match. Which today you don't see that anymore, traveling and everything. But those years, it was crazy. Those guys were machines.
Sorry, I was trying to fix your name and I couldn't get out of couldn't get back in. But
I
so
took
as
a sip of coffee. I was happy.
so as far as but it is fixed. It's just not showing up on our end yet. But as far as Andre the Giant, could you share any stories with us about Andre? Because I know you guys, well, from all the pictures in behind, and it seemed like you had good interactions with him on camera. So you guys must have been pretty close.
None at all. It's funny because I thought in those years that because I was French, it meant automatically that I was going to be close to Andre. But it was not the case. When we did the Saturday night main events, Mean Gene I was always with Mean Gene. He was telling me we're going at that place. He was a great mentor for me. And so a lot of times I was there with Andre and all the other guys that were all the same, and it was not easy. The Mean Gene was okay with me. His driver, I don't remember the name, Mr. White, because those guys worked. I remember
Tim White, right? The referee. Yeah.
Tim was the referee, so we worked together. So when we were with Andre, I could chat with Tim, with Gene, but no, Andre. I was never close to him. I think I was very. How can how can I say that? In those years, um, in French we say très big-headed. I had a very good. I thought I was better than anyone. I don't know.
Right. Well, I could imagine how you would think that though, because you're in your 20s, and what they're selling out Montreal every month, and you're the ring announcer, and you're the Mean Gene of Quebec. I could imagine. Yeah, big headed they call it.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember one day I came in the at the beginning, the first time I met Andre, I was with my tuxedo, ring announcer. I came in the dressing room, and he turned around and said, "Hey, qu'est-ce que tu fais ici? What are you doing here?" And sorry, I'm the ring announcer. Saw, you get out. I was, what's that? Because I was coming from the radio business. I was a radio announcer for a big radio station in Montreal. So I'm not. I was not coming from the wrestling business. It all came by accident, but it lasted 40 years. But yeah,
Yeah,
Andre,
Andre,
we did a lot of interaction. I think it really went well, but we never were close. Never. He really
really
never
never
opened
opened
is
is
how
how
can
can
I
I
say
say
that?
that?
Open so
Open
I
so
can
I can
his
is
friends
friends
or
Oh,
or
yeah, his friendship circle wasn't open to you.
that's it.
that's it.
What about his restaurant? I heard he had a restaurant in Montreal. Did you ever go to it, and when did it close?
I have
I
no
have no
idea
idea.
because that's before my time. That's when he had a wrestling promotion. He was promoter, one of the owners of a promotion. Of course, guys, historians like Pat Laprade or Bertrand Hébert would be able to answer that. I know. I saw some nice picture. I see. What's his name? It's Chris Owens who has a
A
lot
lot
of
of
pictures.
pictures
And
and
Yeah, the Andre the Giant historian guy.
yeah,
yeah,
and I
and I
see
see
sometimes some. I saw. I think it's last week. There was a picture, and they were on the steps in front of the restaurant. But that was before my time.
Someone on here was asking Dino Bravo, do you have any insights about what happened to him? Because you must have known Dino, seeing him all the time in wrestling. Do you have any idea on how he passed away that you could talk about? Because obviously you can't say too much since you still live in that area.
Well,
well,
what
what
everyone
everyone
knows here is that he was in the cigarette business and probably a deal that went wrong. It's we never had the whole story that came out, but what we all know is that he knew his killer because there was no break in, and that his killer was probably really afraid of him with the numbers of bullet that was fired on him. But it's still we don't have the clear picture, and I guess I will not live till a day that we'll know exactly what happened
happened
with
with
Dino.
Dino.
What about Frenchie Martin? He's on that picture behind you with you and Andre the Giant. I mean, I knew him a little bit, and I thought he was a great guy. How was your
Ah,
interactions with him?
great guy. He was so funny. His voice, um, and he was. I remember when he was in the Enan's family doing the paintings, which we never saw, and he was so happy uh, to be part at this time of his career. I was wrestling a few times a year or patching up when someone was hurt. But he was happy, and again, I'm trying to find that word. He enjoyed so much that part, and I remember in those years I was big headed, like I told you, and we were in Granby for a show, probably WWF. Yeah, for sure. That's a small town, and I was with Frenchie, and I told him I was a good cognac drinker. Uh, I thought I was, and we were down at the bar, and we were having cognacs, and he picked me up in his arms and brought me in the room, and went back drinking, and I don't remember because I was so drunk I could not handle what he was drinking.
I can imagine. Was there any wrestler? I know Frenchie Martin didn't get along with the Ultimate Warrior. Was there any wrestler that didn't treat you well back there, or did they all pretty much know that hey, this guy's going to make us look bad or good on TV? We better at least be nice to him.
Well,
Well,
I would be on the same side as Frenchie Martin because the Dingo Warrior Jim Elwig was not really fun to be around. He was uh, him and Hogan had those promos, those interviews where you did not translate. Those were the two that the interaction was really, really at the minimum. There was no interaction at all with the Warrior. I was doing the opening, saying, let's say, Montreal Forum in 3 weeks. He's going to face whatever, Roddy Piper, blah, blah. And then he went on with all the gods and the things. And he left, never said thank you. There was no interaction at all. Hogan, at least, he nicknamed me Pee Wee. And we could talk, chat. There was a bit. Andre was really, really cold, as I described. But the rest, I'm looking at all my figurines. I had fun with Demolition. I had fun with uh, the Honky Tonk Man, Ravishing Recruit. No, I would say there's not one name that pops that
That
was
was
not
not
fun to
fun to
work
work
with. I
with. I
saw
saw
Jim
Jim
Duggan
Duggan
and
and
Jake the
Jake the
Snake.
Snake.
Those
Those
guys
guys
came on
came
my
on my
boat.
boat.
We were friends outside of the shows. So no, it's all good souvenir. And Ultimate Warrior, I guess everyone in those years have the same thoughts
Thoughts
as I
as I
did
did
today.
today.
Someone's asking about Tiger Jackson, aka Dink. I think he was after your time, right? I know he did house shows, but I don't think Dink was when you were with WWE, right?
Well,
Well,
he
he
was
was
there
there
as
as
Tiger
Tiger
Jackson,
Jackson
a
a
few
few
shows.
shows,
And it's
and it's
funny because he was attending Simmania 11, which was my last show in September. He was there with Doink. They both were at my show with Eddie Edwards. And I honored him last year on a show on the South Shore side of Montreal. He was very happy, uh, and I had Richard Charland, Richard le Magnifique Charland on my show. We did a first live podcast front of with a crowd, and he had so many stories about Tiger Jackson, who became Dink. But yeah, that, the
the
part
part
of
of
Dink
Dink
was I
was I
was
was
not in the
not in the
business with
business with
WWE at
WWE
that
at that
time.
time.
Yeah, because Richard Charlone, he was on WWE shows. I remember him because I was a kid back then. He would be on the house shows, but he wouldn't necessarily be on TV. But when you had three shows a night, he'd be in like the Hull Quebecs or the Trois Riviere towns, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
And
And
we
we
asked him, the crowd asked him the question, why didn't you make it in WWF? And he told us that he was in those years. Um, how do you say that when you miss your home?
Oh,
Homesick.
homesick,
homesick, yeah.
And
and
he
he
was
was
working in a
working in.
show. I think it was near Boston, and he had a few dates with WWF, and he was getting to that contract, and a French fry, caught in his throat, and it got him sick. And instead of telling the booker or the office that he was going back home to go to the hospital, he never said a word to no one. And the one who was pushing him was Andre the Giant. In those years when Andre the Giant wanted you to be in the business, you were in the business. So Andre, people respected him so much. So a few years back, Richard was telling us that on, I think it's last week on my podcast, and he said, "I saw the Giant. I went to shake his hand, and the Giant said no." Because he was really pissed off that Richard never called anybody, so he lost his big chance of making good money at
At
WWF.
WWF.
That's too bad because I remember seeing him on Jacques Rougeau's events too in some of his 1990s events when he was running Quebec. Did you get a
Don't,
lot?
don't, if you have a chance to talk to him, never mention Jacques Rougeau to Richard Parlant.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Ah,
because I remember a show in Alexandria, Ontario. I think Richard may have wrestled Bundy or someone. I don't remember exactly, but he had the best performance of the night that night. I remember I
I,
really liked him on that show.
he was a good performer. And we were supposed to be, both of us, at the GPW, Gatineau Pro Wrestling show. I was there, I think it was beginning of fall. Uh, that was in September. I was there to sign autograph, and he booked me and booked Richard Charlin because we were together. We were the commentators for WCW right after I left WWF. So you can see both of us. We had it was incredible how we had the chemistry, and when Jacques Rougeau invested, or I don't know if he invested, but became partner with that promotion in September. Even if Richard was really well paid for signing autograph, for uh, food paid, hotel paid, travel paid, he said, no, Jacques Rougeau is involved in that promotion. Forget it. I'm not going.
Interesting. How did was Raymond the one that replaced you in WWE?
Yeah,
Okay, so that's what happened there. I guess he just wanted to be an announcer, and since he was a wrestler, they found more value in him.
exactly. And in those years, there was a lot of a lot of people saying that all the violence in the world was caused by wrestling. Uh, Wrestling gives it's too violent and blah blah blah. And I had I just had my first son Cedric, and I was, you know, my other business was really booming. Uh, so when they told me that, uh, big headed, I said, oh, no problem. And I know that Raymond did so. He's still a great human being, so a great man, and he did great. He was so good. Uh, but I was more hurt 2 days ago when I lost TNA, which is a little thing, than I was in those years. That's special.
There you are at the TNA event that they did in Montreal, which was their biggest event. But I guess I mean PCO had a big part in getting the crowd for that, but they released PCO too, so they're very business like. I guess when it comes time to cut, no matter what you've done for them, they're just going to cut you because they don't want to lose money. I guess.
It's really I'm surprised. I got an email from Mr. Silva yesterday, who's the president of TNA, and it's like if he doesn't know that we were cut. The email, it's really strange. The other thing that is strange is that we did pay-per-views, 4 pay-per-views a year for 4 years. Of course, when you only do a pay-per-view and you don't do the weekly shows to build the pay-per-view, it's hard to sell pay-per-views to the French market because they don't follow they don't follow the storylines. So sorry. Now that they did their deal with AMC, uh, I sent an email saying, okay, I guess now we can really focus on being in France, where they lost WWE to Netflix. That channel has an history with wrestling, where our French is good enough to be in Europe. We can try here for TVA because they got links with Sportsnet. And that was on Tuesday. And Thursday, I got an email from Dan Rail, production VP at TNA, who's our boss, and said, sorry, it was higher than us. but the sales are not good enough to go with the expenses. And the expenses, we paid everything. They didn't even pay our hotel. So they paid us catering the day with the wrestlers, give us a little pay to do the commentating. But we did for the 4 years, all the pay per views. We were selling tickets for hockey games, whatever, to pay our flights, our hotel, our expenses, the car. So it did not cost them a lot. So I'm thinking, geez, they really did not sell a lot of pay per views in French to say it cost us $1,500 to do it, uh, with all the even the Kiz platform or whatever to do it live from home, which we were supposed to do next Saturday. Uh, to say we stopped there after 4 years, when it's time to try to we have opportunities to be on a weekly show. It's really surprising, which means it was not really selling well in French.
Well, hopefully you can just keep building off of your company. Last questions here. Some guy has a good question. Who had the biggest pops between Hogan, the Rougeaus, Dino Bravo, and Andre in Quebec? And did you have a favorite all-time card to be involved with?
It was not Andre because Andre was a heel. So, and in those years, um, the, the fans were a lot more family oriented, you know. So there was a lot of kids. So kids and heels, like we remembered NWO. They were fan favorite, even if they were ill. But in the 80s, you didn't have that. Uh, the Rougeos were very popular, but nothing. I would say Hogan was the top. I have to say Ultimate Warrior was second. Macho Man was very popular when he was face. The Rougeos were really good. Bravo was a heel with his blonde hair. Rick Martel was also a heel. When he was a face, it was so a fan favorite, Strike Force. But Hogan, there's nothing that can touch the pop when Hogan's music started.
Would Martel be a heel in Quebec City when he was the model, or would they have him be a face on those days in house shows?
Heel.
Heel. Okay.
They kept him as a heel. That's what I remember. And the card, the question of the card.
Yeah.
Uh, let's say if I would have a tag team, I would. Wow, that's a very good question. My favorite tag team, believe it or not, was Can Am Connection. Tom Zank and Rick Martel. Before I started working in the business, the Rougeos, they always give 100%. So if I would put a tag team, built my card, I would start with the Rougeau as face. Faces, they could go against maybe Martel and Bravo. That would be a local uh, entertainment. I really like Ravishing Rick Rude. I would probably again put him against Jake the Snake. I love that part. He's going to be in Montreal on March 28th. I'll be the MC, and Jake. Uh, I didn't see him since maybe 40 years or 38 years. So that's going to be interesting to share stories. So that would be one match that I would put. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I loved him to see him work. Uh, when you think of those wrestlers, it was so much the character. I love. I have a figurine in front of me of Greg the Hammer Valentine, just the way he fell, which was a bit like Ric Flair when he goes face down. But
Someone's
there's so
asking about Mr. Perfect. That's another guy you haven't mentioned yet.
Oh yeah, Mr. Perfect. They were all great. They had something. All those wrestlers. had something great. Some were wrestling skills, some were in the interviews, some were in the aura around them. They all had something. Uh, you know, Demolition, they would say, okay, when we did an interview, they would ask me, who's the captain of the Montreal Canadiens hockey games? I would tell them the name. And in the interview, they would be able to say, hey, we got a call from Guy Carbonneau, Montreal Canadiens captain. He told us when you pass the Champlain Bridge, they were able to put local into the interviews, which got the people really interesting. So it was great years.
Yeah, and I miss those local interviews. That was a big part of what made those superstars shows so good back in those days. Someone's bringing up, were you there when Jacques Rougeau beat Hulk Hogan in Montreal? I was there, and where someone asked if the Rougeaus were more popular than Hogan, I remember Rougeau was booed when he won that night. They were furious because they hadn't seen Hogan for so long that they wanted to see a Hogan victory. But I think over time, they're happy that Jacques won. But what are your memories of that night?
I was the ring announcer, so of course I was there. I have a big picture of me and Hogan at the Saturday night main event background, and that's where he signed it to Pee Wee Stay Strong Hulk Hogan that night before or after the show. Yeah, I remember a small package, Bi- uh, uh, beat Hulk Hogan with a small package. That was, yeah. I don't know if it today, but I guess for Jacques, it's part of his bio. I beat Hulk Hogan. So
Yeah, and a lot of people forget Vampiro also beat Hulk Hogan because Jacques will a lot of the time say he was the only Canadian to beat Hulk Hogan, but Vampiro was also Canadian. I don't think Bret Hart ever beat him though, so there's some bragging rights. But I remember like there was fights in the crowd after the guardrails were bent. The crowd was so mad. That was like the closest to a riot I've ever experienced as a fan that night when Jacques won. Was that one of the nights that you remember a lot of heat in Montreal? Because it just seemed the fans were furious that night.
zero, zero. I'm listening to what you say, and I see when Hogan uh, turned heel with NWO, people were really mad. But no, I don't remember that at all from that night. Zero.
Well, I was just a little kid in the audience, so you saw it from a different perspective. I was trying. I've been trying to look for the poster for Sign Mania to put it up, but maybe you could give us a rundown of where fans could get tickets because I know we have a lot of viewers from Quebec.
The event will be on February 21st. It's a new hall show. They have a new hall, um, salle de spectacle, show hall in the Wallinac Casino, which is really 12 minutes from Three Rivers. It's a great room. So I'm really anxious to produce my show there. There's a local guy called Louis Outlaw who will face Steve Macklin from TNA. Um, I got a flush battle royal, flush royal battle, because of course it's a casino with 21 wrestlers. I got 6 matches at all. I'm the commentator live in the room. You can see on my chain, my YouTube, Marc Blondin. You can see Simmania 1, 2, 3, 4. It's free. You can watch the shows. And it's at the Grand Royal Wallinac Casino. Le Point de Vente is where you can buy tickets, lepointdevente.com, or you can write me. You can find me easily on the Facebook or whatever, and I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Are you still talking to Sylvain Grenier? Because I heard he was back with WWE. Could you confirm if that's true or not?
No, Sylvain came to one of my Simmania shows. I talked to him because he was part of my regular guest on my podcast. But it's been over a year. He does not answer my text anymore. Doesn't answer my messages. I don't know. I don't know what's happening with Sly.
Can you confirm if he got some of Pat Patterson's will? Because I think I heard Rene Dupree say that. I don't know if it's true or not, that he may have been one of the beneficiaries. Maybe that's why he doesn't talk to the little people anymore.
Yes, I'm sure of that because one of the last time I saw him is when we did a karaoke night after Pat's death and invited all Pat's friend. We did that in Laval. I was the DJ uh, and yes, because he was like Pat Patterson's son. He took care of Pat. He was always the one Pat called when he had a problem, and at the end, it was not easy for Pat. He was really losing a lot of. He was not the same man as we knew him years before. So yes, I can say yes for sure.
Well, maybe you could answer this last question because I remember, didn't he referee a match in Montreal with Hulk Hogan against someone? It was a big deal, and it was like they were gonna bring Sylvain in like this main event role, and then nothing ever ended up coming of that, and then he came back a little while later as La Resistance. Do you know whatever happened with that? And who was Hogan wrestling when they did that? Was it The Rock?
Yeah. But I remember talking with Sylvain, and it was uh, his first time. Uh, I don't know why, what happened, but I know that that time to be part of Hogan Rock was a major moment in Sly's career.
Yeah, that was that. I remember that too, and I'm only remembering about it now. It just came back as a flashback that it kind of went nowhere, but it would make sense that Pat probably came up with that angle. But very good. Well, you have some great stories. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, for your next show, maybe you could come on again and tell some more of your stories. And I'll let you close this off with whatever you want to tell the fans. I appreciate it.
Well, I love wrestling. It's been 40 years, almost 40 years in a few months. And I said okay to this interview because I know you'll look into it to try to find the match that I was refereeing between PCO and Sly. I'd love to see that match. But yes, anytime. I just love talking about those years. It was really, really fun. Probably a lot more than today. So thank you very much. And